Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV with your NFL Fade the Public Divisional Playoff Preview for both Saturday and Sunday. This Saturday, January 22nd, Sunday, January 23rd, for the biggest NFL games of the season. The divisional round of the NFL playoffs goes this week. I'm going to tell you where the public is on the side and total in every game, along with some in-depth previews and analysis coming up on this video for you in just a moment. Hey, quick reminder, we started the NFL playoffs red hot last week. I went 5-0, 100% on the NFL playoffs for my best bets for my clients at WagerTalk.com last Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. 5-0, 100% start, and we continue it this week with the divisional round on both Saturday and Sunday. My official best bets, including my first 5% NFL playoff selection this year, goes this weekend, and it's available on my webpage, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Hey, look, that 5% best bet by itself is $35. Or you can get a 3-day all sports for just $49. That's every college and pro basketball play and NFL playoff selection for 3 straight days and nights. Or if you want to get the rest of the NFL, if you're an NFL playoff player only, $89 gets you the rest of the playoffs. The full divisional round this Saturday and Sunday, championship games next Sunday, AFC, NFC title game, and the Super Bowl as well, along with all the props, anything else I release for just $89. Once again, no promo code needed for any of those special offers. Just go to my page right now, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Huge 5% best bet in the NFL playoffs this weekend. Don't miss it. 5-0, 100% start to the NFL playoffs. It continues this Saturday and Sunday. All right, let's go down in schedule order. Let's look at the 4 big games this weekend. We'll start on Saturday at 4:30 Eastern on CBS. Hey, not a surprise that Bengals-Titans got the early game. Once again, Cincinnati was the early game last week. It's the early game again this week. They're going to hide it in the least televised spot here in that Saturday afternoon, but still should be a pretty good game. I mean, look, Titans are the number 1 seed with rest, and they're only a 3.5-point home favorite. Now, Derrick Henry is expected to come back. He hasn't played since Halloween in late October. Obviously, that's a huge boost, one of the best running backs in the league. This line went from the opener of 3 to 3.5 earlier in the week. It's held pretty solid since as we head into the weekend. If the news on Henry changes, maybe it heads down to 3. Otherwise, I don't think it will hit that key number once again. Henry is expected to play. Not sure if it'll go to 4 based on more information on him on Saturday. Once again, Titans are obviously a good team with or without Derrick Henry, though. In fact, if you look at the recent results, they've played pretty well down the stretch without him over the past couple months. And this is a team that won 3 straight to get the number 1 seed. Failed to cover against Houston in their final game, but they blew out Miami. They also beat a good San Francisco team as a home dog a few weeks back. Cincinnati, nice win against the Raiders last week. Raiders were driving there, 4th and goal, almost tied it up. Of course, Las Vegas was coming off the short week, the emotional Sunday night overtime win to clinch the division against the Chargers, and they had to travel on short rest. So it was a pretty good setup for Cincinnati, who rested their starters the previous week. We'll see if the Bengals have much left in the tank this week. As far as the public in this game, of the 4 sides this week, this is probably the least public of the 4. Little bit of a neutral, but that actually leans a bit Cincinnati. Because once again, by default, the public normally plays favorites and overs, as you all know. So I want to see it pretty evenly split. I would say they're leaning a little bit towards the dog just because that's unusual. A little bit of a more of an over lean. The most public lean in this game is actually the over on the total. That would be over 47.5. The public's leaning over the total. Pretty neutral on the side, a little bit of a lean maybe to the Bengals for this early kickoff. Next game goes Saturday night at 8:15 Eastern in the NFC, 49ers and Packers, and this is the most public side of the week. Green Bay Packers. Public likes Green Bay minus the 5.5, and that's the most public side of the 4 games this week. Public is also leaning towards the over in this one, as is often the case. By default, as I said, they usually lean over, but the Packers look like the most public side this week of the 4 games, minus the 5.5. Total currently 47. Injury news for Green Bay. They're pretty healthy. They had the bye last week. They were able to rest their key players the week before, as they did not have to win in that final game against Detroit, and they did not win. Lost that game late. Did not matter. San Francisco, meanwhile, playing excellent football. 5 wins and covers in their last 6 games. 5-1 straight up ATS their last 6. Nice underdog win against Dallas last week. Actually had a best bet for my clients on the 49ers. That was part of my 5-0 sweep last week to start the NFL playoffs. A tougher spot here for San Francisco now as they're traveling into the cold weather. By the way, that Cincinnati game, forgot to mention, the weather's going to be clear, about 35 degrees at kickoff. It'll be cold in Tennessee, rather, in Nashville. Something neither Cincinnati or Tennessee is unfamiliar with, but clear conditions. In fact, in this San Francisco-Green Bay game, in all 4 games this week, it's going to be clear conditions, limited wind, no rain, clear conditions for also 4 games this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. So it does not look like weather will be a factor. With that said, though, by far the coldest game and the only one below freezing will be this game on Saturday night at Lambeau Field. Temperature is going to be around 9 degrees at kickoff Fahrenheit. It's going to be a wind chill of almost 0 for Green Bay, San Francisco. So will that affect the 49ers? Perhaps. That's obviously a warm weather team from California, and they're playing without rest, as I mentioned, against the rested Packers, who are very healthy. 49ers, meanwhile, of course, the big news all week has been the health status of Jimmy Garoppolo, the starting quarterback. He's actually not even listed on the injury report as we head into the weekend, so he is definitely a go, even though he says he's still not 100%. The other big injury news for the 49ers, of course, comes on the defensive side of the ball. Nick Bosa, defensive end, is questionable with concussion protocol, although Shanahan makes it sound like he will play. And personally, I find it hard to believe a key player is going to miss a playoff game in concussion protocol. So I would expect Bosa to go as well. But the 49ers a little more banged up, no rest. So number 1 seed Packers have that edge. But the public likes it for that reason. Green Bay minus 5.5, the most public side this week in the NFL playoffs. Go look at the 2 games here on Sunday for you. Quick reminder, I have my first 5% NFL playoff best bet going this weekend. I went 5-0, 100% in the NFL playoffs last week. We keep that perfect record going into this weekend with my strongest play yet. Get my 5% best bet right now, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut code WT.buzz/SM. Now, single 5% best bet is $35 on its own. You get a 1-day package and get everything basketball and football for 1 day for $39. That's a great deal. Get the entire weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Get a 3-day package for just $49. That includes college and pro basketball. And don't forget, over the last 2 years since I've joined WagerTalk.com, I'm the number 1 ranked college basketball capper the past 2 years combined. 5-0 sweep in the NFL playoffs to start. Great time to be an all-sports client. You can get a great value right now with a 1-day, 3-day, 7-day, 30-day, whatever you choose. Take a serious investment approach. Play every sport every day. Red hot basketball, red hot football continues this weekend. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Let's look at the 2 games on Sunday in the NFL playoffs. You know, back in the day, a couple years ago, and for many years, it was always a 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock Eastern game. I love what they've done here. They're doing the championship Sunday format with a 3 o'clock Eastern and 6:30 Eastern kickoff this Sunday. So first game goes at 3 Eastern on NBC, and that's the Rams and Buccaneers. Last week we worried about the weather, the rain and the wind. It came a little earlier than kickoff, so it wasn't much of a factor. This week, no worries at all. It's going to be clear conditions in Tampa, mid to high 50-degree range at kickoff. So both LA and Tampa will be very comfortable with the weather conditions. Big question for this game, of course, is the injury report for Tampa Bay. They've got 2 all-pro offensive linemen still listed as questionable with ankle injuries. Running back, receiving cores are very thin as well, but Tom Brady is healthy, and that might be all that matters, right? However, the public doesn't think so. They like the Rams in this game. A little bit of a public lean towards the Rams as an underdog. I'd say it's a bit of a public dog. And this line has gone from 3 to 2.5 in many locations because of that. As we head into the weekend, to 2.5s, even money, 3 minus 120 on the Rams. This line's gone back and forth this week off that key number of 3. And keep in mind, in the NFL, there's about a 10% chance favorites win by exactly 3 points. So keep an eye on this. If you like the Rams, grab the +3. If you like the Bucs, wait for the 2.5, as there's many of them starting to pop out there. As far as the total in this, I mentioned a little bit of a lean towards the Rams, a little bit of a public dog, but the biggest lean in this game, most public side or total in this game is the over. Public likes the over here. I'd actually rank this as the second most over this week of the 4 games as far as public sentiment. And hard to disagree. I mean, Tampa has been explosive offensively. Now, I know they have some offensive injuries, right? I just talked about them. Offensive line, running back, receiver. But they keep playing through that, and they have now scored 28 points or more in 7 of their last 8 games. They've put up 30 or more in 6 of those 8 games. Yet they were shut out in one of the games. That was the craziest thing. Back that Sunday nighter in late December, mid-December, that 9-0 loss to the Saints. They put up 30 or more the 3 weeks before that, and they've put up now at least 28 or more in all 4 weeks after. So it's just that weird Sunday night game where they were really decimated at receiver. Had they learned to play shorthanded, maybe. They put up 31 and 41 their last 2 games. But we'll keep an eye on the offensive line. Two Pro Bowlers with ankle injuries is a concern against that very good LA Ram defensive line. And I think the Rams could have an edge in that regard. Another thing I want to point out is that Tampa Bay, Super Bowl defending champs, but they've actually played the weaker schedule this year, surprisingly, because the Rams, of course, played in a very tough division in the NFC West. Rams have played a tougher schedule, yet with that said, they've outgained their opponents 6.2 to 5.4 yards per play. Tampa, 6.1 to 5.4. So almost identical stats, but Tampa played the weaker schedule. So can definitely understand why there's a little bit of love for the Rams and why this line has gone from 3 down to 2.5 in several locations. And once again, the most public part of this game is the over. Public likes the total over here, over 47.5, 48. And once again, check that injury report for Tampa Bay. Even with the injuries, they've still been very good offensively this season. One game to go. Sunday night, 6:30 Eastern. This is when the Super Bowl will be in a couple weeks. This will be when one of the title games is next Sunday. We get a nice Sunday nighter here. Bills and Kansas City Chiefs. You know, several years ago, I joked about the Bengals-Titans. It was an automatic 4:30 Saturday game, right? But a couple years ago, the Bills were always slotted in that 4:30 spot. And the Chiefs as well. But these teams have played their way into the primetime spot in recent years. And we get a rematch from earlier this season and also a rematch from last year's AFC Conference Championship game. Kansas City won that game last year 38-24 at home as a 3-point favorite. Buffalo got their revenge back on October 10th this year, winning 38-20 as a 2.5-point dog. And now that's about what they are in this game in the rematch. They're about a 1 to 2.5 dog. So point spread has dropped each of the past two meetings since the Bills lost last year in the conference title game. Betting public, odds makers think the Bills are getting better. Chiefs, of course, were a big-time winner last year, yet they always kept failing to cover. One of the reasons this Fade the Public video went 31-7 last year through the Super Bowl was because the Chiefs won a lot of games straight up but failed to cover, and the public was backing the Chiefs a lot. They've jumped off a little bit. In fact, they've jumped off in this game as well. Public likes the Bills here. I'd say this is probably the most second public side this week. Once again, public lean towards the Bills here, and it's always, what catches your attention when it's an underdog. So the public is leaning towards Buffalo, but the most public play in this game is the over. The most public total this week in all four games is over 54 in the Bills-Chiefs game. So once again, public lean towards the underdog Bills +2, but the biggest public total this week of all four games is the Sunday nighter, Bills and Chiefs over 54. And not a surprise, two high-octane offenses. As I mentioned, these teams played earlier this year. They put up 58 points. Championship game last year for the conference title, 62 points. And these are two very good offensive teams. They're both very healthy. In fact, Buffalo basically has nobody on the injury list. Kansas City a little banged up at running back, getting some guys back, losing some guys. But Patrick Mahomes is the key. He looks like he's healthy. And these are two explosive offenses. On the season, they both averaged 29 points a game. Buffalo and Kansas City both averaged 6 and 6.2 yards per play. So can understand why the public likes the over here. I don't disagree. Hard to disagree with that. And once again, they lean towards the Bills as well in this great Sunday night matchup here on CBS. Actually, the CBS game at 6:30 Eastern Sunday night. Hey, look, I hope you found this information useful. Once again, weather looks clear in all four games on Saturday and Sunday. Very cold in Green Bay, but clear conditions everywhere. Injury reports, nothing crazy as we head into the weekend. We still got some injuries on the offense for Tampa, especially the offensive line. Keep an eye on that. Derrick Henry is expected to go and return for the Tennessee Titans. Jimmy Garoppolo is playing for the 49ers, although Nick Bosa is questionable with some concussion protocol. That's kind of the big news out there. Keep an eye on that on Saturday and Sunday as you get closer to kickoff. And don't forget also to check out my page at WagerTalk.com. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Number one ranked college basketball the last 2 years. NBA as well, and of course a 5-0, 100% perfect start in the NFL playoffs last weekend. And we keep it going this weekend with my strongest play yet. My first 5% NFL playoff best bet goes this weekend. Get it right now. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut code WT.buzz/SM. Hey, if you found this information useful, give it a thumbs up, a quick like. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell if you want instant alerts when this Fade the Public video is ready each and every week here on Wager Talk TV. I guest hosted Wager Talk today, Monday through Friday this past week. Those episodes are available still here on Wager Talk TV, archived 24/7. I'll be back next Monday and Tuesday this coming week as the guest host as well, once again with Teddy Covers. So check that out at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific every weekday here on Wager Talk TV. And most importantly, as you know the deal. Leave me some comments below. I love my comments. I read each and every one of them. I reply back as well. I want to know who you all like this week in the NFL playoffs. See any good teaser selections? We didn't talk about that on the video. Might be some good teasers out there. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the public. They're leaning towards the over in all four games. Not a surprise. That's normally what they do. Packers look like the most public side. A little bit of a lean to the dog in the other three games. Do you agree, disagree? Let me know your thoughts. And most importantly, let me know your best bets this weekend as well. Best of luck to everybody. Thanks for watching, and check back on a daily basis right here on Wager Talk TV. Good luck this weekend. Enjoy the games. We'll talk to you again soon.